What's up, you guys? Welcome back again to your Heroclix headquarters. Today I've got an awesome team build for you guys featuring an X-Men team with the whole X-Men swap out mechanic. Now I got top 8 at a recent event with this team in the Tulsa Tank Open at Dice Addiction, and it was a great event, and I feel like I could have gone a little better. I definitely had some bad dice rolls in top 8. And I definitely made a few mistakes, so I could have done a little bit better, but top 8 is still pretty good. And there's a lot to go through with this team as to the hows and whys of it all, so without further ado, let's just get right into it. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do, obviously, with this X-Men swap out team is play Professor X from X-Men Rise and Fall. He is just an uncommon, but he is the one that gives us access to this whole swapping out mechanic. So, taking a look at his card here, obviously, he's got a rally die mechanic there that gives him leadership. And, when he uses it, he can replace his leadership role with the rally die, so he gets it automatically. That's actually pretty good, but we're not really playing him to have him on the map. So we're just here for at the beginning of the game, you may replace up to 5 friendly characters with the same number of characters from your sideline on their starting clicks. All replacement and replaced characters must have the X-Men, Shi'ar, or Illuminati keywords and different names. The total points of the replacement characters can't exceed the total points of the replaced characters. So, obviously, that's just going to allow us to swap out up to 5 characters from our team at the beginning of the game with 5 characters from our sideline. So starting us out on our team after him, we're going to play Kate Pride. She is a super rare from House of X, and, she has a pretty awesome sculpt. I do like it a lot. Her sword's a little bent there, unfortunate, but straighten that out later. Anyway, the reason we're playing her is because she starts with this trait at the beginning of the game, generate a Lockheed bystander. That's really the only reason she's here. I mean, she can carry, like 3 characters. She can give certain characters steal energy. She even has Krakoan Revival. Honestly, she's a great figure for 65 points. She's got prob and stuff too. I do like her a lot, but we're not really playing her to play her. We're playing her to get a free Lockheed bystander at the beginning of the game. And as you can see there, Lockheed has Sidestep and Perplex. He's also got a 10 attack energy explosion, and flight, and 17 energy shield, and tiny size, so he's really hard to hit from range, and he's just going to be sidestepping around. He can, occasionally make an energy explosion attack, but he's mainly there for the free Perplex. So at the beginning of the game, you just generate that Lockheed, you got a Perplexer, and then you just kind of bounce her out of the game. So with that same kind of strategy in mind, the next thing we're going to be playing is 3 copies of this Cable from X-Men Dark Phoenix Saga animated series, and he looks pretty awesome with his huge gun there. Now, 2 of these Cables are just holograms, so they're basically fake, and we get them by paying an additional 25 points to use this trait, which during force construction you may add up to 2 other Cables of this specific Cable from your starting force on click number 1 that appears after the orange KO. They have a 0 point value for all effects, including scoring, but you don't have to reveal any Cable's point value until required. The cool thing about this is he's going to come in the game paying the 25 points to get us 2 more Cables, and then we're just going to swap him out. Now, he is going to count as 75 points, not 100, even though we're paying 100 points to put him on the team, for the trait. He is only going to count as 75 points still for the swap out, because that additional point trait there, it doesn't actually increase his point value for things like replacement. It's just kind of, an optional cost. It is still tied to him though. So, while you're playing the game, even if they KO the Cables, they still count as 0 points, just like his trait said. They can't really score that 25 points you paid for that trait unless they KO your whole team. So it's kind of just like a cool way to deny your opponent of some points. Unless they KO your entire team, But then also they have Sidestep and Phase Teleport on their movement power, and once per turn for all characters with this power, Telekinesis as free on their attack power. You can see there that they've got those 2 and some invulnerability, as well as an 11 attack, 3 damage, starting out with a 7 range. So I mean, for 0 points, 2 clicks of invuln. They got sidestep, 11 attack, 3 damage, 7 range. So they can actually make some good ranged attacks. They do have X-Men team ability. You could use them to heal, but they are mainly here also just for the free TK. You can move one out one way, one out another way, and once per turn, one of them can use telekinesis as free. So, it gives you a lot of mobility options there, and some good secondary attackers as well for 0 points, essentially. Now, to combo with the cables, we're going to be playing Dazzler from the Avengers Fantastic Four Empire set. For only 35 points, she's actually not bad. We are going to most likely be swapping her out. The main reason we have her is because during forced construction, you can choose up to 2 friendly characters that share a keyword with Dazzler and choose either Shield or X-Men team ability. The chosen characters can use the chosen team ability this game. So she's really just here to give the 2 cables the Shield team ability. Now you could give it to anybody, but the fact that, the 2 cables are definitely going to be on the team the whole time, right? Like, I want everybody else on the team to be able to be swapped out. Because you want those options to bring in potentially more characters or different characters or whatever. Those 2 cables are the only guaranteed gonna be their characters. And also, if you give shield to one and not to the other, you have to keep track of which one has it, and that's kind of confusing. So I just say both cable holograms have the shield team ability. And like I said, she does some other cool stuff there. You can -3 somebody's range if she hits, or shut off their improved targeting abilities. And 11 attack. She's got some enhancement too, and the shield team ability herself. So I do actually have a strategy that does require her staying on the map and staying in the game just for the enhancement and the 3rd shield team ability. It doesn't really come up a lot, but I'll get to that later. But moving on, next we're going to be playing Maggot from House of X. Obviously, one of the best super rares from that set. Only 40 points, but he does so much for the team. He just packs his dial full of neat things. He's got free generate an Eenie or meaty bystander, unless Maggot's bystander of that name has already been KO'd. Each of them has max 1. Free, remove an adjacent Eenie or meaty bystander from the map, and if you do, remove all of that bystander's food tokens and give them to Maggot. And then free, remove a food token to choose one, heal 2 clicks, or this turn Maggot can use charge and modifies all of his combat values by +1. That's super duper insane and powerful. So here's his 2 bystanders. Both of them just have the trait that when they hit, give them a food token. So basically he just free action pops one of them out. They attack. If they hit, they get a food token. Then he can take a free action to kind of absorb them back into himself or whatever. And he gets their food tokens, which he can then use to heal or +1 all of his combat values and use charge. Now, the best thing to use with him, obviously, is going to be this poison pog. Because when you drop this guy here, he hasn't technically been moved or placed this turn. He's just been generated into the game. So he can still use that poison right away as soon as you place him. As long as you don't use charge or anything, this thing can use poison. The exploit comes in handy sometimes in specific situations, but 9 times out of 10, you're going to be using that one for the poison, because that's just guaranteed free damage for a free action. It's super easy. Now, Maggot also has sidestep, super senses, and probability control, and the X-Men team ability, and a nice 5 clicks of health there. Some perplex at the end, some stealth there. So he's really, really strong for only 40 points. Just generating those bystanders gets pretty crazy. Now, we've got about 35 points left, so to round out the team, we're going to be playing Dark Phoenix. Dark Phoenix is just, universally good on so many teams. Probably the best Colossal Retaliation in the game. So you can see here that when she KOs an opposing character, or an opposing character takes 4 or more damage from her attack after resolutions, you can heal her a click, which is great. You can heal her past her starting line this way as well, which is just insane. And then her Colossal Retaliation is just free. If no friendly character has been placed this turn, choose an opposing character that attacked Dark Phoenix or damaged a friendly character since your last turn. You can place her such that she can make a close attack targeting a chosen character, then do so, and also targeting all other characters, friendly and opposing, within 3 squares. Notice it doesn't say within line of fire there, so you can actually hit people behind walls and stuff. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, within 3 squares, hit characters are given an action token and are each dealt 2 penetrating damage instead of normal damage. And then she's got that stop impervious, and she's power cosmic, so she's going to have willpower, but she's colossal, so she's also going to have willpower on a 3 through 6. And then she also, just has this starting line here for 30 points. She's got sidestep, 11 attack with the retail, 17 with the stop impervious. And if she actually kills something with her retail or her regular attack, because after she takes the free action to place herself, she can still make an attack with a 10 range triple target, which is pretty insane. And, 11 attack, 3 damage there. So if she kills anything, then she heals a click, and boom, then she's got 12 attack, 4 damage for her ranged attack. So, potentially able to shoot there and deal 4 damage to something and heal another click. And it just goes on. And then they have to hit her back onto the stop click. You know the drill. She's been around for a while. She's super, super good. Now, like I said, there was 35 points left, and she's only 30. So to round out those last 5 points, you can use any object, really. There's a lot of good 5-point ones now. But I'm going to use the Remaker Ring. The reason why I'm doing that is because it gives us, for only 5 points, poison and shape change. And it's only a light object, so it's pretty easy to equip to somebody. And yeah, you get poison as shape change, and there's a specific reason I wanted the poison on somebody. We'll get to that in a second. The shape change is kind of just universally nice for anybody that I equip it onto to give them another rollout of attacks. But okay, let's move on to the sideline, which is really where the main part of this team is. So I'll just start with the main thing I would always swap in 100% of the time, and that's a Venom Magneto. For only 35 points, this Venom Magneto just does way too much, honestly. Too good not to play. And honestly, at first I had him on the main team, but I ended up switching in Dark Phoenix so much, I felt like I might as well put him on the sideline and her on the main team and save the 5 points for an object, because, he was always on the team anyway, and I was always swapping her in anyway, so I felt like I could just do it the other way around and have the extra 5 points for the object. But anyway, so like I said, this guy does an insane amount of stuff for only 35 points. First of all, he's got this trait, plasticity and super senses, and if Venom Magneto is within 4 squares and line of fire of an opposing character, he can't be targeted by range attacks. Super, super good there. I mean, just obviously, it's actually even better in play than it sounds on paper. It's pretty crazy. Then he also has energy shield deflection and passenger 4 traded, which again, just insane. Passenger 4 is crazy. He can carry 4 characters. Traded energy shield and traded super senses already gives him pretty good defense. But then his special attack power, telekinesis, and telekinesis as free. So he can either TK twice in one turn, or he can carry 4 people up and then TK one of them, or, whatever. There's just so much he can do with that. And he doesn't start with this on the 35 line, but he does have this special leadership that when he uses it and succeeds, you may instead remove an action token from another friendly character with a monster keyword that's within his range and line of fire, and give an action token to an opposing character that's adjacent to that character. So it is a really powerful leadership effect to have. But like I said, we're just playing him at 35, so he's got running shot, 10 attack, 2 damage there with the leadership, and 16 with toughness. But again, he has super senses and energy shield to stack with that. 8 range double target for his running shot is pretty great. And X-Men team ability, so if he takes a click, he can potentially heal up that way. And up next we have the other Venom chase from Empire, Venom Wolverine, and she is just such a beast. She looks freaking awesome too. All the Venom chases usually look really cool. But she has that same trait that gives her plasticity and super senses, and she can't be attacked with range attacks if she's within 4 in line of fire of an opposing character, which is even better on her because she's usually within 4 in line of fire of a character. She's got Giant Reach 2, that's pretty much why. And then free, if Venom Wolverine has 2 action tokens, you can make a close attack. So that's crazy. She's always attacking. You can never not attack with her. Whether she's double tokened or not. There's been plenty of times she's double tokened and I still just free TK her out there and, just get that attack in, because that Giant Reach 2 really helps with that. Then she also has a special Blades Claws Fangs, and when she uses it after resolutions, she can heal equal to half the d6 result. So it's kind of like a combo of blades and regen in the same roll. Super good. Then she has Stop, Toughness, and Regeneration. Then she has that stop click on her last click and 3 clicks of that kind of blades regen. The cool thing about that special, though, is you can more easily heal off of the stop click. If you use regular regeneration, you're going to have to -1 from your roll, so potentially might not heal. But you can just roll for blades and heal up. And even if you only heal 1 or 2 clicks, you can potentially attack again since she has 2 tokens and then potentially heal up another couple clicks. So she's just super good. It's super hard to get rid of her. She opens with a whopping 12 charge, 12 attack, 18 combat reflexes, and 3 damage with exploit. With that blades as well. Is just super strong. She's so good in close combat. I do like giving her the ring, so she's got shape change in addition, and poison if she happens to be adjacent to some characters. So like I said, Venom Magneto is pretty much always coming into the game, but Venom Wolverine is one of my 2 75-point options. There's one other character I bring in for instead of her, and that's pretty much specifically if I'm going against either a Blackheart team or just some team that has a character with like multiple stop clicks, or that is like really hard to get off their stop clicks or something. And that is Karima from House of X. She's just a rare, but I really like her a lot. I haven't really seen anybody play her, and I don't know why, because I feel like she does so much. She's got this trait that when she hit targets can't use stop this turn, and you may choose a standard attack power, and she can use that attack power until she chooses again. She also has improved targeting for elevated, hindering, and characters, which is nuts. She can see through literally everything but blocking terrain. And she has traded energy shield deflection, which I literally forget about like half of the time. Also, when I was playing at an event, I was told something that I hadn't even realized by the judge, and that is that when she hits with an attack, she gets to choose a standard attack power. So you could pick something like Penetrating Blast, and because of the rules changes now, Penetrating Blast is just always on. So, and the damage comes after the hit. So as soon as she hits, she gets to pick an attack power, and you could pick Penetrating Blast, and then that hit immediately becomes penetrating. So, boom, there you go. You've got that penetrating damage. And yeah, so she's got Running Shot, Precision Strike with an 11 attack, 3 damage, 18 invuln with the traded energy shield, 7 range double target, so you can, see through everything but blocking. And, she got some flight, so she can carry around like one of the shield guys to up her range. And, you can take the power action to up her damage with the shield team ability. That's kind of what I was talking about earlier too with the Dazzler. One strategy I did have was to keep Dazzler sometimes when I have her, if I need to just have that enhancement to up her damage and I don't want to take the power action to use shield team ability. Or she can do both. She can take the power action and I can carry her for the enhancement. And then with just her, she gets +1 range and +2 damage. So they make a nice little combo there. But otherwise, usually the shield team abilities from the cable is good enough. But moving on, next we're going to be playing the super rare Jubilee from the House of X set as well. She, of course, is super good. If you haven't already heard, if you get to play her on this map, she's just insane. And that's really the reason why she's on the sideline. If you win map, you pick this map. This is the Otherworld Outdoor Castle. Oh, sorry. This is the Otherworld Castle map from House of X, I believe is when it released with her. Now, I heard we're also going to get another Otherworld map soon, potentially in X of Swords. We'll see. But as of right now, this is the only Otherworld map we have. And there's a specific reason for that. So looking at what she can do, the main reason she's here is because of this. Free once per game for all friendly characters with this power. If it's your 5th turn or later, or the map's name includes Otherworld, this you can turn Jubilee to click number 7. And that's when she gets these special powers here, which gives her Running Shot, Flight, Giant Size, and Protected Outwit. So Giant Size is going to let her see over stuff with improved targeting, kind of. and also willpower on a 3 to 6. And the protected outwit, of course, is super useful. And then she also has modify range +3, penetrating psychic blast, and then free, remove all non-debris terrain markers within range from the map. So she can just move up, take a free action to just wipe away all of their barrier or smoke cloud or whatever. Super useful. And she always has this trait, which gives her mystics, but only triggers during range attacks, and protected mystics, which she doesn't really need since she's going to have full dial invincible there. So yeah, 11 movement with that running shot special with the flight and giant size and everything. 11 attack with the penetrating blast. 18 with invincible and 4 damage with shape change. So she got 5 range double target, but she gets +3 to range, so she'll have an 8 range double target for all of that. It's just so good. For 50 points, it's insane. And like I said, you just bring her in whenever you win maps, so you got that guaranteed dial. And she's pretty much MVP a lot of my games. She does a lot of damage. But what do we do if we don't win map? We're not guaranteed to win map. I've definitely lost map a few times, even though this team is a +8, so you have pretty good odds. When you lose map, you're going to want to play the Shield Wolverine, and he is from the Empire set. He's a unique, and there's a reason, again, that we're bringing this guy in off the sideline and not just playing him on the main team. And that's because of this trait that at the beginning of the game, you can choose an opposing character as Wolverine's mark. Whenever that character moves after resolutions, you may move the Wolverine up to 2 squares. And if Wolverine's mark is KO'd, you can choose a different opposing character to be a new mark. And then Wolverine can't be targeted until he's made an attack this game or is adjacent to his mark. So the cool thing about that is since we're bringing him in at the beginning of the game with the swap out thing, the beginning of the game trigger has already happened and he's already missed it because he was on the sideline when it would have checked for it. So he can't get a mark. He can't even pick a mark, which is actually a good thing. Now, I mean, we lose access to the moving 2 squares every time they move, but that means your opponent can't just, move your mark up adjacent to him and then attack him. It means he's completely untargetable until he makes an attack. So until you choose to attack with Wolverine, they can't do anything to him. Now this means he can't be perplexed or anything either from your own friendly characters, so do be mindful of that. But he also has this other great trait that when he hits after resolutions, you can use regen as free, which is just insane. So even if they do try to hit this guy, he's just gonna, swing right back with an almost full dial of 12 attack blades. And he just drops to an 11 attack there at the end, but bruh, that is a lot of 12 attack. He's got charge, toughness, exploit with the blades, and then he's got flurry blades and some empower. He's also got shield team ability as well. He's just insane for 50 points, and the fact that you can move him up completely untargetable until you choose to make an attack is just nuts. And he's actually the main target for this ring. You equip him with the ring, he gets poison. He can literally just freely move into your opponent's team, locking them up because they're still going to have to roll for breakaway and just poison them all. And unless he actually attacks, they can't do anything about it. They just have to try desperately to break away from him. But moving on next, for 40 points on the sideline, we've got Prime Bishop from the House of X set. This guy is insane, super, super useful for the team. So he starts off with a trait that gives him phase teleport, and once per game when Bishop uses it after resolutions, he can generate a shard bystander. That's really the main reason he's here. The whole entire reason he's on the sideline is for the shard bystander, because she has a trait that says opposing characters can only attack characters within 5 squares of themselves. And that's just it. It's crazy. That means no matter if your opponent has 8 range, 10 range, improved targeting, it doesn't matter. If they're not within 5 squares of one of your characters, they're not going to be able to shoot them. So it really, really hurts those range-heavy teams, and that's the whole reason he's here. If we're going against like a Thanos or something with some insane ranged abilities, she is just super useful. Plus, she's got running shot, precision strike, 10 attack, 3 damage, so she can attack if necessary. And he's actually not bad at all for 40 points. He's quite powerful. He has this trait that when he attacks one or more characters with the past or future keywords, or that can use probability control, he gets +2 attack and +1 damage. So not too hard to be able to do that to at least 1 or 2 characters on most teams. So if you pick your targets right, he becomes super powerful. He also has energy shield deflection and toughness on his defense, and nice long dial there for 40 points. He's got 5 clicks. He's also got running shot with an 11 attack, 3 damage, and he brings some outwit to the team, as well as another X-Men team ability. So he's super good. Really hurts those range-heavy teams. And we also are playing a second maggot on the sideline. There are some times where you want to just bring in 2 maggots. Now, as long as you don't swap this maggot out, you know, as long as the things being swapped out and swapped back in don't have the same name, you're good. So you can have 1 maggot on the team, and if you really need a second maggot for whatever reason, you can bring 1 in. There are plenty of teams where 2 maggots are really good. Like, you know, sometimes your opponent's just playing a swarm team with a bunch of characters that don't have any kind of reducers. Well, 2 maggots just double poisoning everything is gonna kill everything super fast. And yeah, I mean, the last team I played before this at a competitive event was 3 maggots on an X-Men team. And so I do like using multiple maggots to use multiple poisons in a turn. It is a very effective strategy. Now, the last X-Men we have to potentially swap out with is Tempo from X-Men Rise and Fall, and she's also here for a very specific matchup. So she has this trait here that says free, choose an adjacent character and either modify its speed by +3 or -3. And then she also has this damage power that gives her probability control, and adjacent opposing characters can't use super senses. So one of the main reasons she's here is specifically to deal with like the Chase Spider-Man from War of the Realms, because you can get that guy up to like, you know, super senses on a 2 through 6 pretty easy. So just get her next to him and he can't use super senses at all. And there's a lot of other really good super sense characters, and with the Wonder Woman bracelets and the Wonder Woman team ability and stuff to up those super sense rolls, just want a way to just completely shut off super senses altogether without having to use an outwit. Especially if they, you know, equip Spider-Man with Galactus, make him Galactus's Herald so he's power cosmic, or some other such thing so that you can get around, you know, not having to use outwit. But yeah, she's got charge and attack 2 damage. She's really just there for that, and also the main thing, the main other thing she's there for is the +3 speed to Venom Magneto. Because if we are playing against a Sky Tyrant team, that is the other counter she's here for. You can +3 Venom Magneto's speed. He can carry 2 maggots as well as Cable and something else. And, you know, he can move 11 squares that way instead of 8. And after you move up the 11 squares, they can both free TK out the 2 maggots. And then the maggots can sidestep, and then they can drop their bystander to poison, and then punch. And at that point, if you place right and you hit your attack, which 10 attack on a 17 defense for Sky Tyrant isn't that hard. You can get Sky Tyrant dead, or at least, you know, injured enough so that he's off of his supercharged special movement power thing that he's got. And that's pretty much the strategy there. To deal with a Sky Tyrant, it's just run up in there, drop a couple maggots, and poison him. Now, to round out the sideline, we have 1 spot left. You can have up to 9 characters on your sideline, and the absolute best thing that I had to make room for was Black Vulcan from JLU, the Trouble Alert call-in, and he's just by far the best one. So there's the whole Trouble Alert trait if you don't know it already. Basically, if you miss 3 attacks or critically miss, you can bring this guy in off the sideline. And at the beginning of each of your turns, you have to roll. And if you roll too high, he has to take an unavoidable damage. But he's only coming in at the 25-point line. And, you know, you got 5 range, triple target, 10 attack, 3 damage. He's got an energy explosion and poison special attack power. And when he uses either, he deals penetrating damage with it. So penetrating energy explosion and penetrating poison is great. The main thing he's here for is that penetrating poison. And the main thing is, if we're missing 3 attacks in a turn, we need to get some damage on the board. So we drop him in, we get some penetrating poison on the team, and you know, maybe he gets an attack after that too. But he also has a special damage power that gives him prob, and he can use it on friendly super senses, which is nice because there is a lot of super senses on this team. He only has that on his last click though, so it doesn't really come up much, but mainly for that penetrating poison. Like I said, just drop him, get some free damage in. So that's basically the team, and that's why everybody's here. Now, to show you guys who and what I swap out and why, so let's remove these guys real quick. And like I said, back to the original team here, these 8 characters. What I usually swap out 9 times out of 10 is I swap out Professor X, I swap out Kate Pryde, hopefully after she's dropped her, generated her bystander there. I swap out Dazzler, and I swap out the 75-point cable, leaving me with the 2, you know, clones, or not clones, the 2 hologram cables. And then we keep Maggot usually, and we keep Dark Phoenix usually. So the reason I like to swap out these 4 characters is because they've already done what they're supposed to do. He's here to give us 2 more cables. She's here to give those 2 cables shield team ability. She's here to give us a Lockheed bystander, and he's here mainly just to swap them out. And so that's 4 characters, and that's an even 200 points. We got 65 and 35, and we got 75 and 25. So that's an even 200 points. It's easy math. And now I always end up bringing in this Venom Magneto, so he can carry, he can free TK and everything. And then I usually end up bringing in a 75, a 50, and a 40 to round it out. So my 75, you know, again, this depends entirely on what I go against, but a lot of times I bring in Venom Wolverine as my close attacker. And also, you know, turn 1, she can equip. Turn 2, she can like move 0 squares or something, so she has 2 action tokens. Then you can carry her around with Magneto, TK her out in the action, and she can still make a free attack even after being carried. Because it's free, it's not an action. And then, assuming I win map, I would always play Jubilee because she's insanely powerful for 50 points. And then I would usually round it out with my 40-point Bishop to give me that protection from range. And what's cool, Bishop with the 2 Venoms, it gets you this cool thing because when you drop the Shard bystander, Shard makes it so that your opponent can't attack characters that aren't within 5 squares of them. And these 2, if they're within 4 squares and line of fire of an opposing character, they can't be shot with range attacks. So they have to be exactly 5 squares away to shoot either of them. And, you know, that can be really hard when they're getting moved around so much and free TK'd everywhere and all this stuff going on. So it can be really hard, especially if you're on this map because there's lots of elevated, so you can't really get, you know, the best shot on them. And this is really the main team that I like to swap to the most. If I'm not really sure what to do, I'll usually just go with this because it is just so good by itself as a team. And now, like I said, if I don't win map, then we drop Jubilee. We go for the Shield Wolverine. He's also just an insanely powerful 50-point piece. If they don't have a lot of range attackers, then we usually go for a second Maggot because Maggots and his bystanders just do so much for the team and get so much free damage in. And then if they have, you know, somebody with a lot of stop clicks, namely Blackheart specifically, I have specifically planned against Blackheart, which I guess it didn't really work out for me too well, but you know, we got Karima to deal with stop clicks and black hearts and, you know, ultra chase dead pools and anything else that's super annoying that has a stop click. Basically, we got Karima to turn off the stops and get some good range damage in. And of course, we just have him chilling on the sideline to be called in at any point if we start missing attacks or crit missing. Get some free penetrating poison damage in there. And so really the only reason we begin tempo is usually we drop our 50-point character for tempo. Now that does put us at kind of a big loss, but like I said, it's specifically to deal with a Sky Tyrant to get Venom Magneto with 2 Maggots and a cable all the way across the map to TK the 2 Maggots the rest of the way and get them poisoning in on the starting area. Now if I did specifically need her just to deal with super senses, like if they had a Power Cosmic Spider-Man, then, you know, we might need 2 Maggots, honestly, because they could just poison the Spider-Man to death, or we could, you know, just drop one of those and keep our 50-point character if we win map, Or, you know, if we don't win map, we go for him. Yeah, there's a lot of little variations depending on what we're going against specifically. I didn't go against any Spider-Man, so I never really used her at all. I didn't go against any Sky Tyrants either, so I never haven't used her yet for that either. But she's there just in case. I went against a lot of Black Hearts, and Karima did do her job to kill a Black Heart, but for sometimes it usually just wasn't enough. Black Heart is pretty beastly. And if they're playing two of them, you know, sometimes Karima isn't enough quite to do it. But yeah, like I said, there's lots of options here. I really like this setup here, like I said, with Bishop, the two Venoms, and her, hopefully, if we win map. That's just a really, really solid team all around. And you get the Perplex Pog, you know, you still get a free poison from Maggot. And there's just a lot going on. He can drop Pogs too, obviously, so you got another attack from her. And yeah, it's a really solid team. That's pretty much it though, you guys. I hope I explained it well enough. Let me know if you have any other questions about it in the comments. Thanks for watching. Alright you guys, that's going to do it for this team build video. As always, if you enjoyed it, make sure you smash that like button. It helps me out a lot. Let me know in the comments if you have any more questions about this team or just your general thoughts about it, and if you have any ideas to improve it, I'd love to hear all those too. And of course, don't forget to click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. But also, if you'd like to help support the channel even more, you can check our links in the description for the Patreon, so you can see your name here in the credits, as well as some other great stuff, so check that out. But that's going to do it for this one, so thank you guys so much for watching again, and until next time, this has been Heroclix Headquarters, signing off.